It's not crazy to say that millions of people have nostalgia for old SpongeBob. So many kids grew up with the show, and it helped shape a lot of people's childhoods. Depending on which era of SpongeBob you watched growing up, you will of course feel nostalgic for different seasons and episodes. For me, I watched the first 5 seasons all the time growing up, and now as an adult I still love the first 3. Seasons 2 and 3 are some of the funniest the cartoon world has to offer, but I have always been drawn to that first season. Now, season 1 is not as funny as 2 and 3, don't get me wrong, it's still funny, and for sure funnier than anything after the first movie. But that is not why I feel a certain way about season 1 of SpongeBob. Just looking at these images from the episodes, at least for me, gives me a certain kind of feeling. There is something so simple, minimalistic, or even empty here. And I'm not saying that in a negative way whatsoever. Season 1 has this unique vibe that is so interesting and to me can create warm feelings as well as depressing ones. And that's what we are gonna be talking about today. Hey! So I accidentally fell and forgot to upload for 6 months. That's kinda crazy, thinking about like it's been half a year since I last uploaded. To put that into perspective, NBA Youngboy has dropped 4 albums since my last drop. Might be 5, depending on how much time it takes to edit this video. So it hasn't been that long, I guess. But we are back today to discuss my favorite season of SpongeBob, and by far the most unique one. But instead of talking about the great episodes, the great jokes, or the great characters, we're gonna talk about the great vibe.
Ah, the sea. So fascinating. So wonderful. Here we see Bikini Bottom, teeming with life. Home of one of my favorite creatures, SpongeBob SquarePants. Yes, of course he lives in a pineapple, you silly.
Conch Street. This gotta be one of the most recognizable places in all media. Everyone knows who lives in this street and it's very familiar. Been looking basically the same for the show's 24-year run. But if I put this picture of Conch Street from season 1 next to this one from a newer episode, you might notice the difference. Obviously the art style is different, but at least for me, I also get very different feelings looking at the 2 images. I'm gonna flick them back and forth a little bit until you see it as well. Tell me when to stop. So, when I see the Conch Street from early SpongeBob, I get the feeling of a place stuck in time. This is of course an image from an episode airing almost 25 years ago, and you can really feel that it's almost like an era long gone. The show is still running, same characters, same locations, but it's different, right? This SpongeBob is a memory, a blast from the past that we get to look at through these screenshots. Or maybe I'm just overanalyzing this and y'all are just seeing a random image from a cartoon and wondering what I'm on about, but if at least someone else can get the same feeling as me, it will help me feel a lot less crazy. It's a giraffe! To me, this is SpongeBob. This is the SpongeBob I grew up with, and this is the one that I will always remember. All I'm showing here is from season 1, which just has the show looking so simple and comfortable. There is a reason why this season is my and many other people's go-to comfort watch. The immersion from watching a season 1 episode and just feeling like you're just chilling on Conch Street with these idiots is unmatched for me. But of course, this does not only pertain to the iconic street, but to basically every location in season 1. Now, I'm not sure if everyone is gonna hit the same for every person. I think it might depend on if you watched the specific episodes growing up. Like if you never saw any episode taking place on jellyfish fields as a kid, this image might not give you the feelings it gives me, but I watched way too much of this show back then and now, so it's hard for me to know. An example I could do though is this image of the Bikini Bottom realty estate business from season 1's opposite day. In this episode, Squidward tries to sell his house to a lady from this company. Here's the thing though, This building was never shown in the episode. And this is not the case where they brought it back in the show in a newer episode. No, this image is a hand-painted background frame that was made for the episode but never used. If you saw this image and didn't get nostalgic feelings, it might just all be simple nostalgia that makes the season special, but if you got the same vibe that you got from Conch Street, this season might just be special for other reasons. Some people have posted videos showing liminal spaces in SpongeBob, which ties into this whole thing. If you don't know what liminal spaces is, here, read this Wikipedia article about it. No, but it's kind of like a recognizable place that gives you a certain feeling, almost like there is something missing. And yeah, that's very similar to what I've been saying in this video so far. Empty SpongeBob backgrounds definitely produce this feeling, but that's kind of true for the whole show and not just this season. If you take an image of the Krusty Krab with no characters in it, yeah, it's gonna be a liminal space basically. But take any image of the Krusty Krab from season 1, I'm not gonna feel a certain type of way. I feel like this video is me using my English vocabulary of 100 words and just repeating myself, but y'all are just gonna have to live with that. Here's the thing. Most of early SpongeBob is very relaxed and laid back. Now, I'm not even doing the comparison to modern SpongeBob, so before y'all come at me with the pre-movie SpongeBob had whatever as well, stop. Yes, of course, the very first episode had the scene where hundreds of anchovies attack the Krusty Krab, creating a tidal wave, but most of the first season is just this.
My turn. 5. One of your shipmates has been a bad pirate. Send him to the brig. It's off to jail for you, Mr. Krabs.
Patrick, you're fired.
But I don't even work here.
Would you like a job starting now?
Why would I?
You're fired.
I want to show a clip from a newer episode to compare here so bad, but I'm not gonna do that.
Patrick, heal!
I shouldn't have done that, because now that is like the freshest thing in your mind, so I gotta play another season 1 clip.
Come on, SpongeBob! Tackle me!
Squidward, you need bed rest. I'll keep you safe until you're well again.
Oh, I get it. You don't know what day it is, do you?
Wednesday?
Why, it's opposite day. You mean you've never heard of it? Boy, have you been missing out. Opposite day is the one day of the year when you get to act different.
There is just such a chill, relaxing vibe in these episodes. But it's not only the visuals that conveys this, but the sound design as well. Early SpongeBob used a very different soundtrack to the later seasons, with many of the classic background music from season 1 episodes never appearing again after the 3rd season. Greg Cubed, another YouTuber, made a fantastic video going over the decline of the SpongeBob music. He goes over how the chill and frankly fire songs used in the first seasons quickly were replaced by these Scooby-Doo ass tracks that just doesn't give off the same feeling. And add on top of that the show went from looking like this to this. It's no wonder the first season stands out like it does. I always associated SpongeBob with Hawaiian-esque music, but it's really surprising to see how much of that type of music was erased from the show so early on. I think one of the best examples of how important the music is to create a vibe is the second episode of the show, Reef Blower. This barely 4-minute episode has no dialogue, and all we hear is music and sound effects, and yet it's so relaxing and comfortable to watch. Okay, so I'm gonna reveal some groundbreaking behind the scenes info about SpongeBob right now. The show takes place underwater. I know, right? It's crazy. No, but seriously, one of the first season's strongest aspects is the immersion it has. And much of that comes from the fact that it actually feels like you are underwater. I mean you as a viewer. In the later seasons it barely feels like even the fish in the show are underwater, so we gotta applaud season 1 for this. Now I'm just gonna give a heads up that while this video is primarily or really only focusing on the first season, some of it is at least somewhat true for seasons 2 and 3 as well, more season 2, because I love season 2 and 3, but just atmosphere wise they are different to the first one. Not as different as the post-movie seasons of course, but I can just put up some screenshots for comparison and you will see just how different from the rest of the show the season 1 is. I think this is the first time in a video I have used the word atmosphere, which is kind of crazy since I at least think the video title is gonna include that word. But that's really what this is all about. It's a lot of factors working together to create this atmosphere. Like I said, the music is really important, but so is the designs, the landscapes, and also the colors of the backgrounds. Just looking at backgrounds from this era of SpongeBob makes me happy. There is just something so simple, yet so thought out about it all. I've gone on for a long enough time without mentioning one of my favorite things in this show, the night scenes. Bikini Bottom at night is one of the most beautiful things. There is a reason why it's an image that I use in all my videos. But season 1 SpongeBob at night is something different. Sandy's rocket is one of the most nostalgic episodes for me, and the night scene in this one, just wow.
Look how big it is, SpongeBob!
It's pretty impressive, all right.
Come on!
We're just here to spray the windows, Patrick.
Wow! How do you think we get inside?
We don't. We're just spraying the...
Another one I really like when it comes to the night scenes is in the episode Arg, when SpongeBob heads home after playing the board game at the Krusty Krab.
Oh, that's 17 times in a row!
I think we ought to call it a night, Mr. Krabs. I really gotta get some sleep.
Oh, you can't walk out of me now!
I'm sorry, Mr. Krabs. I'll see you tomorrow.
Now something that might just be as good as the night scenes, if not even better, are the ones with sundowns and sunsets. The beginning of pizza delivery is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. The hand-painted red background with the dark interior of the Krusty Krab is just chef's kiss, or whatever people say. It's perfect. Now, I did say in the intro that this season doesn't only give comfortable or even positive feelings. In the right context, season 1 of SpongeBob can be a bit depressing for me. What I mean by this is that taking screenshots from 25-year-old episodes and putting slowed down SpongeBob music over it really makes you feel how it's an era long gone. The episodes are still here for you to watch, but this SpongeBob is no more. Of course, some people like the newer episodes, and that is of course totally fine, but for me, this is what SpongeBob is, or this is what SpongeBob once was. Pre-movie SpongeBob is one of, if not the greatest show of all time, and the memories we created with it will always be here, but they will always be just that, memories.